debate that we just talked about over here that might become a bigger thing for the Clinton campaign. And I think we can agree that they're much more effective at the attacks and the commercials and with surrogates, et cetera. And that is Donald Trump saying that if he gets elected president, he's going to ask his attorney general to appoint a special prosecutor to put Hillary Clinton in jail.
Yeah,
this is the kind of thing that they do in countries not like the United States, where you lock up and jail your political opponents. This feeds into something that we've heard, a criticism we've heard actually more from conservative critics of Donald Trump than liberal critics of Donald Trump, the idea that, can you imagine this man with his temperament and with his drive for vengeance having the instruments of government at his hands, the IRS, et cetera. I wonder if that actually was a much bigger gaffe than we were making it out to be.
I think it is. I think it's a huge gaffe. I mean, Republicans talk about the imperial presidency and how Barack Obama has abused his executive powers. Imagine somebody being asked to serve as Attorney General if you knew that a president was going to direct prosecutions. I'm not a lawyer, but I get that. And it is, as Dana was pointing out, Nixonian to a great degree. Yeah. And I think that it is also un-American to a great degree. And I think that that is something the Clinton campaign can use and can use very effectively. Also, to me, when he said, you know, I'd put her in jail, remember during the convention that she
lock
was
her
lock her up, lock her up. And he kind of sort of tried to quiet it a little bit at the convention because he was in presidential mode. Now, this was a primary campaign debate to me tonight. And what he was doing was rallying the base by saying, lock her up, effectively, which he did. Also, calling her a liar multiple times and the devil multiple times, and saying he would put her in jail.
And he said she had hate in her heart.
Hate in her heart,
I don't think that's going to play very well with voters. I think what happened was he said, I'm throwing out the playbook, and I'm going with, as you point out, I'm going with the material that's worked for me when I go out there and speak to these rallies. This line of prosecuting Hillary Clinton is something that he's used in his rallies. This is not a new idea. He just raised it to the level of a debate point here, and my guess is it'll resonate well with his base. And it will antagonize the people he needs to grow, who worry about the things that you point out, who worry about his temperament, who worry about whether he would handle the job of president in a responsible way. So I think he galvanized the base again, perhaps at the expense of expanding it.
Yeah, I mean, it's another iteration of her argument, which is in an ad, about having him near the nuclear codes. A man you can bait with a tweet shouldn't be near the nuclear codes. And he also probably shouldn't have the instruments of the military, of the Justice Department. So, yeah, I think that'll certainly end up in an ad. And, again, it's going to turn off those moderate swing voters who want a steady person, who want somebody who is steady in terms of their temperament, in terms of their manner, in terms of their speech and approach to issues. So I think it wasn't a plant by Hillary Clinton in any way, but you know.
I should comment on the ad thing, though. I don't really think it's going to end up in an ad, because I don't think this is the issue that she wants.
No, she doesn't want to talk about her.
So I don't think it's going to end up in an ad.
Alleged criminality, right?
Who watched it, I think it was cringeworthy for a lot of folks who watched it.
Jake, the two of us have ties to the Philly suburbs. I still live there. You have family who are there. I've waited. We're now a month out from the election, less if you start and think that people are already voting. And I've been waiting and waiting and waiting for the pivot or the outreach to the folks who come from our area, because if we had a nickel for every time they get invoked, even on SNL, we'd be wealthy individuals. It's never going to happen. I mean, this is the Donald Trump who got this far. I think there potentially is an emperor has no clothes kind of thing going on around him, where perhaps the people who could say to him, you need to pivot, won't do so for whatever reason. But this is what got him thus far, and this is how he's going to ride it out. And I think that he feeds on the reaction that he gets from that base, which is what keeps him hitting the sort of lines.
But Michael, maybe he felt like he took the advice of the people who were telling him to pivot and be more muted in the last debate, and it didn't turn out well
Could
for
be.
him. So he decided, well, the hell with that. I'm going to throw all of that out and go back to the stuff I know works.
Revert
And
to
just
form.
to elaborate, it's not Michael and I are biased because we're from Philadelphia, but it's not just the Philly burbs we talk about. We're talking about white college-educated voters. We're talking about the people in the I-4 corridor in the middle of Florida. We're talking about the people in Northern Virginia. We're talking about the suburbs of Denver. That's where these are voters that Mitt Romney did well with, that John McCain did well with. Still not well enough
the
to win.
suburbs of Harrisburg, where thousands show up for Donald Trump.
And
Or you were
Donald
there that night.
and
Maybe
Donald
they showed
Trump
for
is
you.
underperforming with them. And I know that
Very
this.
much
I'm
so.
sure he will win every online poll. I know that the Breitbart crowd ate this up. My question is, did he win over any suburban households in Philadelphia?
Sure.